Ads that lead. Welcome to the free tutorial on how to find a job and how to fill out a resume, how to fill out a cover letter. We're really thankful that you're here. We're really thankful that you decided to join us, and our hope is that this information will help you really cut the line and really get ahead of all of the other applicants. You know, Inc. magazine says there's 250 applicants for every job today. We want to put you at the top of that list, and these are a few things that will help. And so the first thing that you should have gotten a free resume template that looks like this. And we'll walk through, this resume template, how it works and why it works and what you can do to make it work a little bit better. You also should have got a matching cover letter that looks like this. We're going to fill this cover letter out for you so that you can kind of see, what makes a cover letter work and why you need a cover letter. And what I have here is a filled out resume that landed her a really good job. And we're going to show you this. There's a lot of technique in this that you can't really see right now. It's a nice looking resume, but there's more psychology in this than you think. And so that's what we want to walk through. So let's start at the beginning. This resume has a couple of things on it right from the beginning that you'll notice that are a little bit different. They have your name in the upper left-hand corner and then a photo in the upper right-hand corner. This gets a lot of questions and a lot of confusion. There's a lot of people who don't want to put a headshot of themselves on their resume, and I totally understand that, and I have gotten a lot of people jobs, with a headshot right here. But what this really is for is if you are a creator, if you build something, if you make something, this is a great place for a photo. The number one piece of real estate, I don't know if any of you were into websites a few years ago, this corner of a website sold as far as advertising goes, for more money than anywhere else on the page, because our eyes are naturally drawn to this corner of the page. You really want something here that stands out. It doesn't have to be a headshot, though. I helped one lady get a job who refused to put her headshot up there, and so we put a small thumbnail version of her disc profile in this corner, and it worked beautifully. She got the first job that she applied for. Here is an example of an old resume that I had. I was a journeyman lineman. I still am, but I haven't done it for years. I used this photo of me climbing out of a helicopter working on power lines to illustrate the work that I've done. So if you build dressers, take a picture of the dressers that you build, the most beautiful dresser you built, and put it here. If you create websites, put a screenshot of one of the websites that you've built right here. This picture helps get your resume to stand out. It really, really does a lot of good, more than you can even know. And there's a lot of different opinions about headshots, and if you fall in the category of I don't want to put a headshot there, that's fine. This photo is super powerful. Make sure you use this real estate on your free resume. It's really going to matter. Now, you'll notice that this template is kind of divided into two, and we have a giant blue bar that runs down the side of this. The reason it's blue is because the color blue elicits trust from people. That's a big deal. We really want the hiring manager, recruiter, whoever you're talking to trust the stuff on this page. And so I've tinkered with this and messed with it, and this blue bar, between this blue bar and this photo, we just exploded the results from these resumes. These two additions right here were just absolute no-brainers, must-have additions to the resumes. They really made them stand out. So what this blue bar is for, you don't want your resume to be 2 pages long. You want a cover letter and a 1-page resume. Almost nobody can fit the things they need to say on 1 page. So this is a small version of the second page of your resume. And let me show you what that looks like. On this resume right here, you can see This is the address, phone number, email, contact information, and then this is the education and degrees that she has. And what we've done is we've taken the logo from each school that she went to and placed it right here in this blue bar. If we tried to line all this up and cram it all into one page without this separation, it would never fit. It would look horrible. So we added this blue bar so that any illustration of your talents, any degrees, any references, anything that you want to add that wouldn't fit on the normal first page of the resume can go right here in this blue bar, and it really cleans up the resume beautifully. It really makes it look nice. And so that is a really powerful part of this free resume template, especially if you use it well. So once you fill in your contact information, once you fill out any of your education, certifications, degrees, certificates, and put a couple of references in this page, you'll be ready to come to this section of it. This section is done a little bit differently. You can put your profile here. I typically don't put an objective on a resume. If you're one of those people who thinks that a resume's got to have an objective, then that's fine. The objective has to be to work for the specific company where you're applying, and that's it. Don't make your objective to obtain legal work. You know what I mean? Don't make your objective just to make enough money to pay my bills. Don't do that. To find gainful employment. That shouldn't be your objective. You need a resume specific to the company where you're applying, and if you're applying at Apple, your objective needs to be, I want to come to work for Apple. Period. And that's it. But I have found, and that's going to lead us into the whole idea behind a resume, I have found that less information on a resume is better. The idea behind a resume is not to give the recruiter enough information to rule you out. The idea behind a resume is to give them just enough information to be interested in you, and that's all. Most people will rule themselves out by the things they think are mandatory on a resume, and there's nothing mandatory on a resume. I've seen people get hired with their name on a sticky note, and that was their resume. You know, if it comes recommended from the CEO, that's probably how it's going to go. So know that there's no mandatory form, mandatory information that needs to go on a resume. You can leave things out of a resume. And for example, I want you to notice on this resume, there's no objective anywhere. And I also want you to notice on this resume and on this resume template, you have a job title, a company name, city, and state. None of that's mandatory. I suggest it. But what's missing is the chronology, the dates, the to and from section of this resume is not here. The reason it's not here is because this isn't 1985. The job market today does not require that you work in the same place for the last 25 years. So putting your chronology on here, that I worked for 3 years at this company, it does not help you. There's no benefit to it at all. The only thing it can do is rule you out of the interview. If your chronology says that you worked at a place 3 years, but the hiring manager thinks they want 5 years of experience, you're ruled out automatically. Chronology never rules you into an interview. And the only thing that your resume, the only job that your resume has is to get you an interview. It's not to get you hired. So don't put all the information in the world on your resume, because all it can do is rule you out of the interview. The interview is what gets you hired. I leave chronology out. It doesn't help anybody get the interview. If they want you to have 5 years experience here, but you don't put it, all they can do is call and talk to you. And usually what they'll do is they'll say, well, let's just call her in for an interview. Well, that's the job of the resume, is to get you an interview. You want to leave information gaps so that if they have a question, they will call you in. Now, you don't want to leave the information gap so wide that they don't have your information, right? You want to give them enough information to know that you're qualified and that you're good for the job. Chronology never does that. Chronology never, ever rules you into a job. It can only rule you out of a job. So notice on this template, no chronology. Your job title, the company name, city and state where you worked. You can use a small description of what you did. Maybe bullet points are your thing, but you really don't have to use the chronology. This section right here should be called brag about yourself. You really, really need to sell yourself right here. This only explains what you've done. This explains who you are. This explains the things you do, the places that you volunteered, the type of person you are. And make no mistake, the people who are hiring you are not hiring this. They are hiring this. Most times, 9 times out of 10, they want to know what you're like. What's it going to be like to spend the day with you? What kind of personality do you have? What are the things that you like? This section is very important. This section, recruiters just breeze through. Okay, yeah, she has the qualifications. Now what's she like? So this section right here is very important. If you build dressers, put your picture of a dresser here, then explain how good you are at building dressers and that you come to work with a smile on your face and a joke book in your back pocket every day. Right here. So that is the long and short of this resume template. It's not conventional. It doesn't look like a lot of average resume templates, and that is because it's not. It is way above average, and this sucker stands out when you apply for a job. So the next thing we'll go over is the cover letter. The cover letter looks almost identical to the resume template, which is amazing. If you make, here's your resume, and here is your cover letter. This bar on the cover letter should match this bar on the resume. Your degree, your references, this is a miniature version of your resume right on the cover letter. Let me tell you how happy a recruiter is when they look at this and it has all your contact information and your education and your references. It's like a miniature resume, and it lays on top of your resume, and it automatically rules you into a job. It doesn't rule you out. When they see a beautiful picture of the website that you built right here, when they see your certifications, when they see how beautiful the nice blue stripe down here, and then they turn the page to your resume and it matches the cover letter, they automatically are interested. Automatically. So make this bar match this bar. And your cover letter needs to be very simple. We'll write a cover letter right now. The first things first, you don't ever want to say, "Dear Louisa." That's not professional. Don't start your cover letter with the word "dear." Find the name of the recruiter. Try to avoid using "to whom it may concern." But if you will find the name of the recruiter, which shouldn't be too hard to figure out, it should be in the email address that you sent your resume to, or the lady that you shook hands with, who was the manager while you were there, or it shouldn't be very hard. Maybe you have a contact inside the company that can tell you who the hiring manager is. Put their name there, okay? Right there where it says hiring manager, put their name there. We're going to say the hiring manager is Alicia. That's my mom's name, and it's spelt that way too. Okay? So just put her name right there and move on. You're going to say, something along the lines of, if you met her, you want to say, I was very pleased to meet you on 7/12. If you met her, reference the date when you met. It's super important. I am excited to learn more about the current opportunity and look forward to pursuing this further. I know hiring is a very arduous process, so I will be very short. I have included my resume, and if you have any questions or need more information, please contact me. Thank you, John. That's your cover letter. That's it. It's done. Try to use their name. Try to reference a date if you met them on a date. Not on a date. If you met them on a specific day, try to reference the date of that day. And that's it. Mention to them. Here's something that you need to keep cemented in your mind. Hiring managers are incredibly busy. When it's time to hire, they are swamped. Recognize that. Say, I understand you are very busy right now. I know hiring is an arduous process. I know that you have a very full plate right now. Something here that suggests that you understand the position that they are in, because hiring is a big deal. It's a very long process. So mention it here. That's why this is short. Most people think a cover letter needs to fill up the whole page and it needs lots of words. These people don't have time for lots of words. These people are really busy. So keep it short. This sidebar is speaking for you. You don't have to say much, but you do need a cover letter. I've watched as recruiters go through the pile and throw out resumes that don't have cover letters. Period. They don't even look at them. Put a cover letter on your resume. It never rules you out of an interview. It only rules you into an interview. And keep it short, because with this template, everything they need to know is right here. If they want the information, it's here. But in this section, you're being very respectful of their time. So if you don't like this giant gap at the bottom of the page, oops. There you go. This cover letter is done. Print it off and sign your name right here when you're done. And that is a full cover letter. Name of the hiring manager, reference the date that you met them, if you met them. Reference their time, be very respectful of how busy they are, and sign your cover letter in pen. Make this bar match this bar, which should look something like this. If you don't have all of these certifications to put on here, that's fine. References are fine in this sidebar too. But that's the overview of your cover letter and resume. Make sure to leave information gaps on your resume. Your resume is there to get you an interview, not to describe your life history. Now your resume and your cover letter are taken care of, but you need somewhere to send it, right? So, Andrew has provided a link to this Hacking Social Media Guide. This lives on my website, and this will be here as long as you need it. And this page explains that 80% of jobs are never posted or advertised. The most jobs get filled by people who know somebody in the people who know somebody who knows somebody in the company. It's filled by networking. And social media is the ultimate networking tool. That's the reason it was built. It wasn't built so that we could watch GIFs. It was built so that we could network. These are the industries that use social media the most and the least. Professional business services use social media the least to hire, and they use it at a rate of 55%, over half. And they're bringing up the rear. If you're in IT, if you're in sales, if you're in financial services, healthcare, retail, manufacturing, even construction, even trades, you're talking about 60 and 70% of these companies are using social media to hire. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And this guide right here teaches you how to use LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, and how, not just in the typical way that you think is possible. If you're in a professional service-based job, if you dress nice to go to work, you need to be in LinkedIn. You need to start your LinkedIn profile right now. And the trick to LinkedIn is not to find the company and apply at the company. You want to find the company that you're interested in working for, and then find the people in the company that are related to your circle. Somehow find the connection between the people you know and the people that they know, and connect with them. Once you connect with them on LinkedIn, you'll be blown away at how powerful LinkedIn is. I can't get my head around how many people look for jobs and they're not on LinkedIn. It's the place to start. But I know all of you are Facebook people, and so the tip to Facebook is not to join the job seeker sites. And I use this example in a lot of my articles. If you're a roofer, you don't want to join the roofers looking for a job group. You want to join the roofer company owners group. Okay, join the groups where the decision makers hang out. The decision makers for the roofing company don't hang out in the I'm looking for a job groups. They don't hang out in the help me with my resume groups. They don't. But everybody goes to the help me with my resume groups because it's their first thought. You want to connect with the people who are going to hire you. You already have the resume help. So don't join the job finders groups. Join the groups of people where the decision makers are going to live. And if you're a roofer, it's going to be in the roofing company owners groups. If it's going to be in the how to market a roofing company groups. Groups like that are going to hold the decision makers, and they're going to be very active. Now, don't go on that group and go look for a job. Go on that group, and you're going to dig through the questions, and you're going to see how many answers to those questions you have. Your expertise is incredibly valuable in those groups, because guess what? There's nobody like you in those groups. It's a phenomena of human psychology. We all group together in these little groups where we're all the same. So all of the owners of the roofing companies are in the roofing company owners group. It just makes sense, right? Well, their problems are problems that you can answer. Hey, how do I get my guys motivated? Well, you're one of the guys. You can tell them, you know what? Bottles of water are way better than a cooler of water, because I have to come down off the roof to get my little pointy cup to get a glass of water. If we just had bottles of water, the helper could throw the bottle of water up on the roof. Suddenly you become a super valuable asset of information. So join those groups that you feel intimidated to join and help out. Don't ask for a job, help out, answer questions. Soon conversations are going to start. In those conversations are where the gold is. That's where people will say, "Oh, what's your experience?" "Oh, I have 25 years as a roofer." "Oh, where do you work?" "Well, I'm actually looking for work right now. The last company that I worked at closed, and I'm trying to find a job." Well, now you're the guy that has all the answers. Of course they want to hire you. They at least want to bring you in for an interview because look how smart you were with the bottle of water thing. So those are the groups you want to join when you're hacking Facebook for a job. Okay? Now, if you're on Twitter, sorry. I'm not a big Twitter fan, but there is a hack. Twitter's still alive, and they're still trying to keep life in it. And there's one hack for Twitter that absolutely works, and I've done this. You can do this for almost anything that you want. But in the search bar for Twitter, when you click on the little magnifying glass, put quotation marks, and then put hiring your expertise. Let's say you're a roofer. Hiring a roofer, looking for a roofer, need a roofer, just fired a roofer, where can I get roofers? Put these phrases in quotation marks, and suddenly 1 million conversations come up from people who are looking for roofers, people who are hiring roofers. And in those conversations, you can jump in and say, "Actually, that's funny you mentioned that. I'm a roofer, and I live in the same town you do." "Oh, how do I apply?" "Oh, you just fired a roofer? Here's my experience." This little hack right here on Twitter, as long as Twitter's still alive, works fabulously. So make sure that you're doing this right. Don't go onto Twitter and shout out, "I need a job." That doesn't work. Okay? But if you go onto Twitter and search right, you can actually find the conversations where people are asking for you rather than just shotgunning out a bunch of tweets that never work. So get on LinkedIn, join the right groups in Facebook, and search properly on Twitter. And by tomorrow, you're going to see a huge marked improvement in your job search, and you're going to have a killer cover letter and a killer resume to go with this job search. So I hope that helped. We're going to give Dads That Lead $20 off the interview course. So this interview course has helped countless people find jobs that they never thought they were qualified for. And it's typically a $79 course. We're giving Dads That Lead $20 off. We also have a payment plan because when you're looking for a job, you don't typically have a bunch of money sitting around. So we have a payment plan that will work for you, and we're here to answer any questions you have about the course, about hacking social media, or about your resumes.